Derica and her friend Jackie were walking back home from their college. They lived in the small town of Rocheport in Missouri. Derica and Jackie had known each other from childhood. As a matter of fact, almost everyone in this town knew each other, as there were literally only a few hundred people in the entire town. The streets were wet and muddy. Dark clouds hovered above the two. Anyone who was outside hurried back in. It looked like a severe thunderstorm was approaching Rocheport. So, who was that guy you were talking to at the diner? Oh, Dan? I met him online. He lives nearby. I don't know how you do it. Can you really trust someone you don't know? Oh, come on. It's not like I'm marrying him. Even so, Derica, you have to stop dating these weird guys. Remember your last boyfriend? He was a total creep. Who has a freaky collection of dolls in their house? And then there was the guy before him. He had a golden teeth, for goodness sake. But that wasn't the real problem. People were saying he was a stalker. Hey, they were all nice people. Be open-minded, Jackie. Why do you call them weird? They're just different. Jackie opened her front gates. All right then, Miss Open-Minded. See you tomorrow. Just then, it started to pour rain. Derica waved Jackie goodbye as Jackie ran to her porch. Bye. Derica lived 2 blocks down from Jackie. She ran in the rain in a rush to get back home. As Derica ran down the block, she noticed a car slow down on the road. A young man wearing black sunglasses lowered his car windows just a bit and asked, "Excuse me, could you just help me out for a minute?" Derica looked at him and rolled her eyes. Why was he wearing shades on a dark day like this one? She ignored him and continued walking. The man drove his car and followed along with Derica. "Miss, I just need to know the directions." Derica stopped and looked at him for a while. Something didn't feel right. "I'm sorry, I can't help you." Derica quickened her pace and turned around the curb. Just then, she heard the man get out of his car. Derica looked around. It was raining heavily. There was no one in sight. She heard the man running. She turned around and was horrified to see him right behind her. A knife hidden in his sleeve. You girls don't like it when I ask you politely, do you? I told you I can't help you. Derica turned to leave, when she suddenly felt something sharp on her back. Scream and I'll pierce this out the other side. Get in the car right now. Derica was frightened. What was she going to do? The streets were empty. It was pouring so hard, it was difficult to see. The man pushed Derica to hurry. Derica had no choice but to get into the car with him. As soon as Derica was in the car, the man slammed the door shut and sat inside. Perfect. What a lovely young woman you are. You must be tired. How about you take a little snooze? I'll drive you home. Derica's heartbeat raced. She was trembling. All she could remember was the grim smile of the man's face before she felt an intense pain on her head and she blacked out. Derica regained her consciousness in a few hours. Her head hurt. She couldn't move. She screamed out for help when she realized she was tied up in a locked room. There was nothing in the room except for the flickering light bulb hanging right above her. Derica struggled to free herself. She froze in fear when she heard the door creak. There on the other side stood the man that abducted her. He stepped inside with his hands behind his back and chuckled as he paced around Derica. "This is your new home. What do you want from me? Let me go." "Why? Where will you go? You belong to me now, and this is where you will stay." "Who do you think you are? I belong to no one. Let me go." "Oh, I see. So you haven't recognized me yet. Don't you guys call me the invisible maniac?" Derica widened her eyes. She trembled in anxiety when she realized whose hands she had fallen into. Breaking news for all residents in Rocheport, Missouri. We urge you to stay on the lookout for a mysterious serial killer on the loose. Not much has been discovered about this deranged man, apart from the fact that he targets young women from around 18 to 25 and operates on rainy days. There has been 12 reported cases of young women suddenly going missing from town. The townsfolk are blaming it on a man they gave the notorious title, the Invisible Maniac. With the coming of spring and many rainy days, families fear losing their daughters, sisters, and wives. Derica tried to kick and pull out of her chains. "Stay away from me, you freak. The police will be here anytime soon. They're on to you already. They'll put you in jail where you can rot for the rest of your life." The man let out a menacing laugh. "The police? Huh. Those nincompoops won't be able to do anything to me. And now when I think about it, it's a pretty good name you people have given me. I am invisible. The police will never find me, and finding you is out of the question. But Derica, there is something about you. I have to say, you're the most special to me of all of them. You're my 50th target fulfilled. Cause for celebration, don't you think? You sadistic beast, you'll never get away with this." Derica cried as she watched the man open up his closet. She heard a clanking noise. "What are you going to do to me? No, please, have some mercy. Don't do this. No!" Derica woke up the next morning. She was in a horrible condition. The room reeked. She was hungry. She was in pain. Just then, Derica heard a noise coming from outside. It sounded like cars were driving down the street. She was about to scream for help when she noticed a man sleeping on the floor in front of her. Derica looked at him. What an innocent face he had, but what was behind it was nothing but crazy. Derica remembered all he had done to her. She was suddenly struck with a strange realization. People might call him insane, but this man was just different. Had she not been searching for someone different her whole life? Psst, psst, hey, wake up. The man looked at Derica, enraged. "How dare you disturb my sleep?" Derica flinched as he came at her with his fist. I'm sorry, she cried out. The man calmed down and looked at her. Derica said, "I understand why you're doing this, and I've come to realize I wanted something similar in my life all along. Maybe we can start over." "You dare try to fool me, you cunning witch?" No, I mean it. I believe it with my heart. It will be as you wish, like you said to me before, remember? I should take this as my new home." That was the last thing Derica uttered before she heard a loud bang, and an immense pain before blacking out again. She woke up to the man sitting in front of her. She was still chained to the chair. She smiled at him and said, "I'm sorry, I didn't mean to black out. I'll be stronger next time." Derica's love and perseverance went overlooked for days after days. As she suffered each and every pain the man inflicted on her, she noticed his heart started to soften for her. Derica was filled with joy. After all these days, she would have her love returned to her. She came to know his name was Terence. Terence felt Derica was truly sincere about what she said. He unlocked her from her chains. But he wasn't that naive. Derica was still bound to the locked room, which was far from her capability to escape from. As time went by and Terence and Derica interacted, Terence had only received kind gestures from Derica in return for the horrible treatment he gave her. She didn't shed a tear, she didn't yell, she didn't retaliate in any way. Terence started to feel Derica had proven her loyalty to a certain extent. It had been a few months since she had been here, and she hadn't tried to escape, she hadn't tried to hurt him. He himself had started to develop feelings for her. He allowed Derica to live freely inside the house. It wasn't long after that Derica and Terence fell in love with each other. They were like any other couple, living a happy life together. Derica never questioned him. Derica was never suspicious of him. Terence left the house every morning and came back late at night. And there he found Derica sleeping with her head on the table with food ready for him. "Why don't you cook us something special tomorrow?" "Sure. Can you come home early then? I start to miss you when it gets late." "Somehow I knew you would be special. It was my mistake. I misunderstood you when I first saw you." It had been nearly a year that Derica and Terence were together. On a bright sunny day, Terence woke up early. He got ready as usual and went out the door as Derica followed him with his bag ready in her hands. "See you tonight. I'll miss you." Derica peered out the window and waited for Terence to leave. She went to the bathroom and took out a pair of keys. It had been days she had been trying to duplicate the keys to the house. Today was the day she would finally escape. Pulling off the act was painful. It was hard. But now that she knew everything about this psychotic killer, she would hand him over to the police and enjoy his miserable end. Derica went to the bedroom. She entered the code and switched off the alarm system. When the coast was clear, she escaped out the back door. Derica cried tears of joy as she felt the cool air on her skin after a long, long time. Tears soaked her shirt as she looked up at the sky. Derica immediately went to the police station. "Excuse me, officer, I need your help. I know where the invisible maniac is. I've managed to escape after being imprisoned by him for so long. We can't let this man go." The police officer was sitting faced the other way. He was working on a crossword puzzle. It seemed as if he hadn't heard Derica at all. "Officer!" Derica was horrified to hear a familiar, menacing laughter. The officer turned around and raised his head. There stood none other than Terence, the invisible maniac. Derica stumbled back in horror. "No, this can't be!" Click on the subscribe button and check out more awesome videos on our channel. And don't forget to press the bell icon because you know it's interesting.